Hi everyone. In this topic we will going to discuss the Russians checkmate. What is Russian checkmate? What Russia is trying to do, and by getting into this kind of technology, what the Russia is trying to prove to the world. Actually, the Russia was one of the superpower after the World War II during the time of the Stalin. After the Stalin, there were so many presidents came into an power. That also includes the Gorbachev. So Russia lost its glory after the 1991. So Russia is trying their best to get back their old glory that they had during the Cold War. After 1991, when the USSR broke into 15 different countries during the reign of the Gorbachev, then Russia lost its past glory being a superpower who only had charisma to challenge the American might. After Gorbachev, his ex-partner Yeltsin became the president, but he stayed for a very short time and was very unpopular among the people of Russia. And he was in spendthrift president. After Yeltsin, the new leader emerged. The name of the leader was the Vladimir Putin. He was a former KGB agent. He, being a leader, always tried his best to regain the past glory, at least the military might that USSR used to had. So when the Vladimir Putin came to an power, the Putin tried his best to get back to put the Russia into the world map by improving the economy of Russia that actually got devastated after 1991. Russia lost its glory because they failed to prove that what the communism was, what the socialism actually was. The socialism lost its glory, so the Russia lost everything. Along with their economic might, the Russia lost its military might to the USA. When they broke out, when they broke apart, their economy was shattered. They had problems within their countries. What are those problems? What kind of problems the Russia was facing then? The problems like the Chechnya. After 1991, Chechnya declared themselves as an independent nation. The Chechnya actually the part of the Russia the which belongs to the southern part of the Russia. The Chechnya is a Muslim dominated region, was declared themselves as an independent nation. So Russia was trying during the time of the Yeltsin, Russia sent the troops of 20,000, more than 20,000, and almost half of them died into the battle of Chechnya. The Chechen peoples used to use the guerrilla tactics to attack the Russian peoples. And the other failures the Russia was facing was the Chernobyl disasters. In the year 1986, Russia was very proud being an nuclear power generation country alongside with the USA. But when the Chernobyl disaster happened, then that exposes the carcasses of the USSR. And what was actually the USSR doing that by then with the nuclear power? So this kind of thing, this is how the Russia lost its glory. This is how the Russia lost its might. This is how that pushed the USA to being a superpower, the unilateral superpower by then. So now we will going to talk about the USA after the 1991. During that time, the USA had excellent economic stability, so they accelerated their defense upgradations. When they came to know that the USSR divided into an 15 parts and their economic is in shattered, then they accelerated their defense upgradations. During that time, they built so many aircraft and the aircraft carrier. America have almost 11 aircraft carrier. Among those aircraft, they build the excellent stealth aircraft. What are those aircraft? They are F-22 and the F-35. So Russia thought they are lagging in developing the defense technology. They tried to build by collaborating the countries like India. Their was economy was not as good as it used to be. So they collaborated countries like India and the other countries those used to be the part of the Russia. The projects in which the India worked with the Russia, the projects were the BrahMos supersonic missile and the Pak-50 stealth aircraft. Although India is not acquiring the Pak-50, what is the reason behind not acquiring a Pak-50 from the Russia? Because Russia claimed that the Pak-50 is an stealth aircraft. But according to the Indian expert and the other expert of the world, that Pak-50 is not an stealth aircraft. It is an ordinary aircraft in disguise of being stealth. So why India will going to invest the money in such projects, those who are not fulfilling the desire of a country? But India worked sincerely with the BrahMos supersonic missile that actually helped the India being an supersonic superpower in the South Asian region. How the Russia is regaining its lost glory. So the Russia has showed their might by developing the surface to air missiles. So Russia showed the world that they are still the military might in the world. They developed the S-300 missile system, S-400 missile system, and recently they have developed S-500 missile system. S-300 range is 300 km, 400 range is 400 km, but S-500 range is 600 km. So these are the excellent missiles that air surface to air missile that are being used by different countries including India to protect their airspace. And the Russia has developed the spectacular supersonic missiles. What are those supersonic missiles? They are Avangard, Kinjal, and the Zircon. The Russia supersonic technology has put the mark on the hair of the USA, France, and the China. They are not able to develop the supersonic missile system yet, but they are trying to. That is known to the Russia that they will going to develop the supersonic missile systems within the 6 months or 1 year or 1.5 year, max to max 2 years. So now they are trying to catching up with the Russia. So this is how the Russia is actually catching up to the Western world. So this is how the Russia is coming up being a superpower again, coming up being a military might again. So in this slide, we will going to discuss that what is checkmate. What is checkmate, that will be discussed in these slides. And why the world is so tensed about the Russian technology. Recently, the Russia is trying to get into a club of the stealth aircraft technology that actually Russia is lagging. Russia tried it by making the Pak-50, but it is not an stealthy aircraft according to the expert that we have already discussed. So they came up with a new stealth aircraft called the Checkmate. It is a single engine aircraft. The plane is unique in their class. They have combat radius of 2,800 kilometers and also had largest thrust to the weight ratio. The plane can use the short landing and the takeoff facility, so it can be used in the aircraft carrier. Although it has not yet designed to be used in the aircraft carrier, it has capacity of carrying the 7 tons of combat load, which is an absolute record for aircraft of this class. So the Russia is trying to develop a aircraft which can be used in multiple operations. Its first flight expected in the 2023 and its delivery is expected by the year 2026. The Checkmate has been unveiled at the MAKS 2021 International Aviation and the Space Salon in the Zhukovsky, outskirts of Moscow. This stealth plane is being developed by the Russian military conglomerate Rostec and the Sukhoi. This plane do not have the vertical takeoff facility like the F-35, but this plane will be far more cheaper and the far more wear capable in comparison with the F-35. A drone version is also under development regime. So this plane has came up because to compete the F-35, because United States is trying to sell the F-35 to its friendly nations, and Russia will going to sell it to the nations which is friendly to the Russia. Among them is India, is among them China, and the other nations in the Eastern Europe. They will also be try their best to accommodate these aeroplanes in their air force. See, India is the one of the largest partner of the Russian defense sales. So what is Russia eyeing for? What is Russia eyeing for? Russia is trying their best to challenge the American aviation industry. Russia already have so many fighter jets that are in comparison superior to the American fighters. What are those fighters? The America has the fighters of F-16, F-15, F-15EX and the others. What in comparisons to this aircraft, what Russia have? The Russia have the Sukhoi 30, Sukhoi 35, Sukhoi 57, Sukhoi 27, MiG-29, MiG-35 and the others. They are all almost possesses the same configurations. Almost all the aircraft possesses the same configurations. But USA is different when the F-22 and the F-35 came into a line. Why? Because they are the stealthy aircraft. These are in these sections the Russia is lagging. That is what the Russia is eyeing for. All the things the Russia have. Maybe Russia do not have the aircraft carrier, but they have the supersonic missile. They have the long range missile. They do not need the aircraft carrier. United States needs the aircraft carrier because they wants to control the world, the whole world. They sends the aircraft carrier to put the pressures on the countries. And lastly, so the Russia will catch up with the Americans in and around 2026. When this plane came into existence, the new weapon in this way that the new weapon race will begin. Just like the world fight for the nuclear weapons, the countries do not have the nuclear weapon before the 1945. Now all the countries have. It must be used for the greater good of the humanity. Technology must be used for the greater good of the humanity. Technology should not be used to destroy the humanity. So we have to be concerned that what we are doing. Now the last slides we will going to discuss about our questions, that will Checkmate really be able to checkmate the USA technology? You can send me the answers to the email address that has been given. Thank you very much to listening to these topics. We will going to meet in our next topic. Thank you.